The problem was I had just come back from a training where we crawled through the mud with live machine gun fire over our heads. Dick.
Sweet Caroline, bum, bum, bum. All right, Dad, you can hear all that?
What's that?
You can hear everything?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, looks like your levels are actually really good.
I hear him better than I hear myself.
This does sound like talk radio.
Doesn't it? Isn't it cool? All right, let's see. Some of us talk. I talk kind of loud. Oh, doesn't that sound great? That's just clink, clink. All right, Andrew, what's your name?
Andrew Thomas Rusnak.
Don't
Jr.
say your whole name. Jesus Christ.
Wait, are you recording?
Yeah. Okay. I am recording. All right, I just want to test volumes. Okay. So, I feel kind of silly doing this in front of Dad just because, like, I have this podcast thing. It's nerdy.
I'm your father. What's to be nervous
I
about?
know. I don't know.
I'm the one that should be nervous.
What is today's date? Today is November 1st, 2017.
September 1st.
September.
The coffee's kicking in. This is the 29th episode of, we're called the Moving Outcast. I started this when I was living at home, and I was going to document each week me trying to move
you
out.
had this stuff here.
Yeah. And then we moved out, and everyone's like, oh, what are you going to call it now? And I'm like, well, I'm still trying to move out of my apartment, and we're always moving. I don't know. I got stuck with the name. I thought it was clever. But this is a really, really special episode because this is my dad, and I'm basically just going to try and get him to tell us his story. Just his life story. I think we're going to get Mom on eventually.
That's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Probably boring, but might as well.
Your mother can be interesting sometimes.
Yeah. The main thing is I like that even if the episodes are just stupid, I really like keeping up. Like, I have documents of Jordan comes over and he's like, oh yeah, I got promoted at work. And it's just cool to know that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just documenting, and it's a reason to keep my website running. But yeah, so I'm just trying to read levels as people talk. So it's the 29th episode. We're sitting outside at my dad's house, and it's kind of cool out and stuff.
Yeah, good
Cool.
weather.
It's comfortable.
Yeah. All right. So basically, I figured I would just go decade by decade. Kind of.
7 decades.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I got a lot of...
We're going to be here a while.
I don't remember that much, but we'll see.
We'll see how it works out. All right, I'm going to try and monitor this while we're talking. All right. So basically, let's just start with where were you born?
Well, it was an extremely humid night, July 15th, 1947.
Was it really humid?
No, I'm making that up.
Oh. When you were born,
Try to make it.
when you were born,
exciting.
you had to come out uphill both ways when you were born.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Used to walk to school uphill
Both ways.
both ways.
Both
And it
ways.
snowed even in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was July 15th, 1947. Martins Ferry Hospital in Martins Ferry, Ohio. I don't remember the time. I think it was close to midnight, and I weighed 8 or 9 pounds. That's what I remember from Mom telling me.
Yeah.
Cool.
Martinsbury?
Martins Ferry.
Martins Ferry.
Yeah, it was along the Ohio River, the east side of Ohio, right next to West Virginia. and Pennsylvania.
Near Wheeler, West Virginia.
Wheeling.
Wheeling. Oh shit.
That's where my mother was from.
Yeah.
Wheeling.
Wheeling, with the pig races.
Well, whatever. We called it West Virginia snake hunters. I don't know why, but we did, and we were the Buckeyes.
Wait. So you're a Buckeye, and West Virginia people are called snake hunters?
West Virginia. It's different. West Virginia
It's
is
a different state.
different state.
Gotcha. But that's so okay. So
You did fail geography. You did very well in school.
Yep.
I tried, yeah. But so all right, so because I always grew up, you called us West Virginia hillbillies, or like that term kind of ran
Ohio
around.
hillbillies, I remember.
Okay, maybe. I have a bad memory.
Just hillbillies in general.
Yeah.
I thought.
Not
Yeah.
rednecks, but
But
hillbillies.
it's better than rednecks. It was.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am a redneck, but
That's what Grandma.
when it comes to the flag,
Yeah. Grandma has said she's a redneck in the past. Like she's just, I forget the conversations, but she's been like, oh,
where
yeah.
she grew up in Wheeling, it was considered a city,
Yeah.
and not well-to-do, but they had everything. Several movie theaters, department stores, you name it, they had. It was a relatively big city. But I'm not surprised she would say that.
I just randomly, I just specifically remember that because I think I just said like I wasn't a redneck, and she was like, "Well, I am, and I'm proud of it," or something.
Probably
Like
when she moved to Ohio.
Yeah. So
Married dad, moved to Ohio.
that's right. I forgot. Is that a honeybee or a bumblebee? So you were born in
Martins Ferry, Ohio.
Martins Ferry, Ohio.
Yeah.
And you, what kind of, you were the first.
I was the first of four, yeah. My brother Steve came later. Actually, we're almost 2 years apart each.
Oh, okay.
So Steve would be Stefan, Stefan.
Are you serious?
Which I just
Yes.
learned that
What the
recently.
Hell, Grandma called him.
It's not Steven. It's Stefan.
Yeah. It was from some Russian author that wrote a book she liked, and the name stuck with her. And so Stefan Lee.
Oh no.
Then Chuck came along, Charles Michael.
God bless.
And fourth Joseph Anthony.
Huh.
So yeah, they came after me. I'm the oldest, supposed to be the wisest, but sometimes I wonder.
That's debatable.
Yes.
How come you were named Andrew, but Grandpap was Andy?
Okay, that's interesting. He was named Andy, no middle name.
His
Ross
middle
Knight.
name's no middle name?
No middle name. None.
Blank.
Until I was, I don't know, I already had my Social Security card. 17, 18 maybe, because I already was working. I thought I was a junior. So my Social Security card, the original one, said Andrew Thomas Rusneck Jr. Later I found out I'm not a junior. He was Andy, no middle name, Rusneck. So,
Is his first name Andy, or
Yes.
is it Andrew?
yes, Andy.
That's so...
These were, my grandparents were from the old country.
Which is Czechoslovakia.
Well, it's the Ruthenian Carpathian mountain range. Right now, that's like Czechoslovakia, Poland, Russia, part of Russia, that area. They met over here, got married. Dad was one of, Pete. I think he was one of three boys and one girl, Aunt Martha.
And so is Grandpap from the Carpathian mountain range? Or
Yeah,
was
they both were, but
He-
different parts. They didn't know each other until they came here.
Grandma and Grandpap.
Yeah.
They weren't born here?
No, came over on the boat.
Your parents.
No, my grandfather, grandmother.
I was okay.
Yeah, I was.
No, I'm
confused there for a
second
second.
generation.
Okay. Okay.
Dad was born here. Mom was born here.
Okay.
Okay.
But okay, cool. But so all right, so you're all right, sweet. And then grandma, there she's like kind of a European mixture of just
My mother?
yeah.
Yeah, she's Polish, Czech, Irish, and English. Malavi.
That's her maiden name. Yeah. Okay, so we learned that from the birthday. We learned a lot
Yeah.
from that
Well,
birthday party.
she has quite a history.
All right, so that's pretty cool. How long did you grow up in the first house that you were born in?
The first house was in a small town, mining town called Glen Robbins, Ohio. It was a typical mining town for that area. Everything owned by the company, the coal company. They built cookie cutter houses that we rented. They were all the same. They had outdoor pumps for water and outhouses for
You had an
bathrooms.
outhouse?
Yes. There was a company store, which was typical. The thing with the company store was you bought things and charged them there, food, clothing, that kind of thing, and it took it out of your pay.
Oh.
So everything was company oriented.
Wow. That
It worked. We did pretty well. We didn't do well, but we did okay.
Survived.
Don't remember much about growing up there. My first vivid memory is breaking my leg.
Mm.
Long story short, Dad had a pickup truck. I was 4, maybe 5. And I was in the back of the bed with my cousin Mickey, who also lived in the neighborhood, playing with a piece of rope for some reason. The rope was tied to something in the bed of the truck. And I was tying knots around my leg, my right femur. Well, Dad was working on the truck and he started it. I thought he was leaving. So I jumped. The rope wasn't long enough. So snapped it. And according to my mother, my head was just almost under the back wheel of the truck. Because apparently he did move it. So that was my first vivid memory.
you broke your femur.
Broke my femur, yet there's a 6-inch metal plate, 4 screws, and wires that kept the bone together while it healed.
And then they took him out and
No, they're still there. There was no reason to take them out. Because it had calcified over.
oh shit. It's
Yeah.
like in your bone?
Yes. It boned over.
Boned over.
It really didn't bother me unless I got hit there. Even from the back, the thicker part of the leg. But it kept me from playing football.
Ah.
But I did do baseball in the league. Never played basketball. I can't dribble. Just could never dribble.
Yeah, it's not our
No.
Yeah.
So,
Did you want to play football?
yes. In fact, I wanted to be part of that team. I ended up being what was called the coach's assistant or manager. Basically a water boy and equipment manager.
Yeah.
You know, take care of the balls and all that stuff. But it got me into games. And
What did
It was
you
fun.
What did you want to do? Quarterback.
I wanted to be a right end
Really?
wide receiver.
Okay.
I don't know why. Well, I was right-handed, and I always imagined running down the field, cutting left, reaching high,
Still.
catching a ball.
You're tall, long legs.
No, I was average,
Hmm.
but I was pretty fast. Not extremely fast, but it didn't happen.
Huh.
So how long did you live in what age were you when you guys moved out of the mining town?
It must have been 5 or 6 because my first school was in Dillonvale, Ohio.
Okay, because that's the place I always remember hearing
Yeah.
that you grew up in was Dillonvale.
Yeah, that's where basically I did grow up.
And so is that what the Rusnack farm is? Like that we've always
No,
heard
that
about?
was back at Glen Robbins. My grandfather had a farm.
Oh.
right outside of Mount Glen Robbins. Had a barn. I remember the barn had an old antique Ford, maybe a Model T. He had cows. I guess he grew. I don't know what he grew. Maybe corn. But yeah, they lived there. My aunt. We called her Sosia. It was Aunt Mary. I don't know why we could. Sosia must mean something in Polish.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say. Oh, yeah, that's...
I remember some of that. At Sosia, we'd play a little game. She'd blindfold us and give us little bits of food. We had to tell her what it was. And for some reason, that was a lot of fun. And no, she was kind of fun. She was a little bit mentally retarded. So she didn't work. She wasn't married. Lived with her parents. A couple of things I remember about the old farm was Granddad butchering a cow.
Oh, wow.
Gruesome. He killed it by hitting it in the head with a sledgehammer. And I remember that. I can see it now. Steve one day got too close to the beehive. Got stung all to death. Grandma went in and saved him. He survived.
Grandma like went in there and
Yeah.
covered him up.
Didn't bother her.
Yeah. Wow.
She was raised them. They had raised making honey.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
about. The farm had no electricity. We had kerosene lights. At least in Glen Robbins, we had electricity. Kerosene lights, stove in every room.
like a for heat.
Yeah, for heat. Yeah,
And
no air conditioning. Never heard of air conditioning.
Yeah.
But must have been at least by 5 because my first grade was in Dillonville Elementary.
All right. And
Remember, Miss Krzyzewski was the teacher.
Wow.
The only other teacher I remember besides the principal, Mr. Garland, and the bus driver, all that, Miss Duda. She was my 5th grade teacher. But I do remember Miss Krzyzewski because that's a big deal. Your first year at school,
Yeah.
so you remember quite a bit. Dillon was a typical Midwestern town. Had everything. At least we thought it did. It had a movie theater, had a Dairy Queen, had a bank, had an auto dealership, a bakery, a barber, a dentist, Five and Dime.
We got a dentist now.
In fact, growing up, I wanted to be a dentist.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. You've had multiple jobs.
Oh my goodness, I'm working on it. Dad taught me work ethic.
Yeah.
Heck, 6, 7 years old, we had a coal furnace to keep the house warm.
Mm-hmm.
He was a miner, and he'd sometimes bring coal in the trunk of his car, and we'd haul it.
Yeah.
Steve and I, Chuck was too small. Steve and I would haul it to the coal bin, which is a little covered area just right outside the house. Sometimes he'd break down and bring a truckload in, and we lived on a hill. And the truck would go past the house, up behind the house to the higher part of the hill. He'd dump it. Dad made these metal chutes, and we would just throw the coal down the chutes close enough to the house where we could then pick it up and put it in the coal bin.
Wow.
He'd run out of coal, so he picked them up with old tires.
Oh,
Cut
Jesus
them up.
Christ.
He cut them up. They burned pretty good. They gave off good heat.
I'm sure they smell great too.
Well, no, that wasn't the easiest part of living. That and we had no drinking water. The well water there was just okay for bathing and that kind of thing. But
Would you have to boil everything?
no, we went to Wheeling, with jugs. I don't know, once a week or so, and all of Mom's family was living there. Her sisters, brothers, her mother.
And she had like 12 brothers and sisters or something
Yeah,
like that.
well, maybe 6.
6. Okay.
Again, I'm rough on names right now for some reason.
That's fine.
Was Wheeling
Wheeling,
and David
Delaville?
Dillonville, were they like right on the border of each other?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But not, you had to go east to the river, then south a little bit, and then cut over to West Virginia to go to Wheeling. It was maybe a half-hour drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. But they had a public spring there.
Oh.
We'd go there and load up jugs of water for drinking and that kind of thing.
That's
The roughest part was taking a bath.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we'd fill up the tub, and Dad bought this little water heater. It was a torpedo-looking thing that you plug in
Yeah.
and drop it in the water to heat it up. That was a nuisance. So it was literally, at the sink with a soap and rag and
Yeah.
that thing.
Mexican shower.
Yeah. So
much editing.
that always bothered me, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to be a manager, because I gave me access to the showers and the locker. And actually, before that, I was what they call a scrubber. Bill Morris and what was his name? Anyway, another guy. They were more or less my best friends. They were a year younger. We were scrubbers. We would literally take a scrubbing machine and scrub the cafeteria floor and wax it.
Oh.
And that gave us a courtesy pass, so we could go to the dances, the sock ops, free lunch at the cafeteria.
Yeah.
So I must have been, 12, 13.
Wow.
That was really my first job. And I think at the same time we had a bowling alley, and I was a pin boy. Didn't have the automatic setting machines.
Yeah.
So you stood behind the pins, behind the wall, put your legs up, they'd throw the ball, you put the ball back on the chute back to them and load the pins manually. It was 10 cents a game.
Wow.
What if like some asshole shoots down before you set him up and?
Well, you didn't throw the ball back until you set them up. Didn't give them the chance.
There was a system. Yeah.
We had a system. And I learned, the guys that had been there before told me how to do that.
That's ridiculous.
It's.
A little bit after that child labor laws were invented.
Yeah.
I had one friend.
Laws, labor laws. Hell.
You can't hear me?
There we go.
Okay. It's mono, so I might actually be in your other ear. But that's ridiculous. So
But let's talk about jobs. Scrubber, pin boy. I was a janitor at the post office. Basically swept floors, cleaned the bathrooms, folded mail bags. Big bags full of mail would come in, and they'd empty them, and I'd fold them up so they could send them back out. Can't remember the postmaster's name. Again, today I'm bad on names for some reason.
It's okay.
Maybe a
Like
beer will
60
loosen me up.
Exactly. That was a long time ago.
So, because you joined the Army when you were 18?
Well, there's more before that.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to figure like.
Well, yeah,
Hold
18.
your horses, John.
I got drafted.
There's a lot more.
I got drafted.
My thing is like you were in the house you lived in
Dillonville.
in Dillonville until 18. So that's like where.
Yeah, till the Army. Well, no, not actually.
Oh, okay.
Between my junior and senior year, at that time, I thought I wanted to be an X-ray technician. So there was a guy older than me, a few years, had gone to this school in Florida. And my dream was always to live in Florida. I love the sunshine. Just loved it. Excuse me. Anyway, he knew of my interest. Mom knew his parents pretty well. And he knew of my interest and offered to put me up the whole summer between my junior and senior year to live with him in Florida. And when I was down there, I got to see it was Jackson Memorial Hospital. They had a school of X-ray technology there, and it was free because they expected you to work there after you...
internship kind of
yeah.
thing.
So after that summer, came back, finished school, had a couple other jobs. Elby's Big Boy, like a McDonald's. I think that's it. Anyway, I did decide I wanted to go to that school. So when I graduated, I left home. Was very fortunate. They had what was called Doctor's Hall. It's where the new doctors or interns, I guess you call them, in training. They had rooms for them. And so I lived there for free. Food was free. Mom would send me a few dollars. I was smoking at the time, so covered my cigarettes. And
Since 12 or whatever it was.
Actually 16.
16.
Yeah.
How much was a pack
Salem
of cigarettes?
Lights. Or Salem. What's that?
How much was a pack of cigarettes back then?
25 cents.
Jesus.
We're back in the 60s. Yeah. So anyway, school was interesting. I learned a lot. They teach you the bones, the names of the bones, and how to take the X-rays, how many rays to put in them for this and that. What got me was it was a county hospital, and they didn't really seem to care about people. And I would literally see people dying in the hallway,
Jesus.
waiting to be treated. And I just got tired of it.
Wow.
So I left there, got a job right away at Southern Bell,
What's
a
that?
phone company.
Oh, okay. Did that turn into Bell Atlantic eventually?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Southern Bell. That's where I learned how to climb poles with the foot spikes.
There's what the hell's it? There's a name for that. I can't remember. We don't do it at my new job, but we had to watch a video on how. I can't remember what it's called.
I did slip once. I had a short sleeve shirt on, so the inside of my arms got pretty well scraped up. Never had to do that again. They taught you how, but then mostly it was underground or above ground. Mostly underground. Splicing.
Yeah.
So I had a trainer. They put me on let's back up a little bit. I got around. I rented a couple different apartments, or rooms, really.
Are you still in Florida?
Yeah, still in Florida.
So you were at the hospital.
I'm 17, going on 18.
And you did the hospital thing for like a year, and then
More like 6 months, probably.
and then you kicked out, joined.
Kicked out, went to Southern Bell. They put me on midnight shift to fill in for something. And my trainer, he was doing some work, and he told me to wait in this phone room until he got back. So I'm tired. I put my head down. I must have fallen asleep, but I heard him come in and yell my name. But I didn't move. He walks in. Oh, sleeping on the job. So sent me home. So I lost that job.
Damn.
I got another job right away, intern at another hospital called Cedars of Lebanon, Jewish hospital. Did surgical preps, like if somebody was going to have surgery, I'd shave where they were going to operate.
Clean them up.
Clean
like
up things,
Yeah.
mostly for the operating room. Then I got the letter from Uncle Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Greetings. Welcome to the U.S. Army.
We want you.
We want you. So I had a report for a physical in Ohio. So at the time I had a 61 Chevy convertible. Red with a white top. 3-speed on the column.
Three on the trade. That
Three on
the
the trade.
Impala, right?
Yeah. Drove back to Ohio, back home. Tried to get out of the physical. Pretended I was deaf in 1 year. But I guess they saw through that. So my cousin Mickey went at the same time. And he failed it for, I think, flat foot or something stupid.
He was the cousin that was in the back of the truck when you
he
broke
was-
your femur.
We were best friends.
Wow.
So anyway, I had like a week or so to report.
And this is 1969, right?
Yeah.
Or
Late 68.
you joined the police in 69. So
Yes.
military was like 67, 68.
Yes.
And so this wasn't like, they just said, you're going.
Yeah, it was
Oh
the
yeah, there was a draft.
draft. Yeah.
This
You
was-
guys don't have that to
you
deal
go.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what.
They call your number and you go. It was during Vietnam.
Yeah.
Give you a job and you go.
There weren't enough volunteers, so ended up reported, I think, Steubenville, which is a bigger town in Ohio, just north of Dillonville. Bus to Fort Benning, Georgia, where I had basic. A couple of my school buddies were also drafted, so I had some
Oh, that's cool.
friends there. Basic was typical.
Screaming.
Like in the movies.
Screaming, give me 50,
Yeah.
shooting, the rifle. Did pretty well. It was expert rifle and expert 45
Wow.
Really?
gun. Yeah.
So what? That was a 1911, the Remington, like the.
It was a Colt 45,
Colt 45.
M14.
M14.
M14. Took the place of the M1.
Yeah.
Semi-automatic.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing it. That's cool.
Didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, really.
Yeah.
But I did it. And graduated basic and was sent to Fort Gordon, Georgia for MP, what they called, what do they call it? Specialized individual training. Whether you go infantry, artillery, whatever, they send you to the school, and this was for military police. So graduated there. That's when I really lucked out. I didn't go to Nam. Went to Germany. Had a ball.
So wait, did you apply for MP?
Yeah.
Or
No, they decided. I actually asked for
It was just-
armor.
tanks?
Tanks. Yeah.
Wow. You asked to be in a tank.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're gonna make you MP.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how they do it. Probably on test scores and
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
stuff like that.
algorithm. Yeah.
But or random. I don't know. But
Yeah, it
that
could've
was
been.
MP.
Draw out of the hat.
Yeah.
You're a sniper.
And you're like, hold on. You take your glasses off and clean them. And
Okay, so that was random. Just MP.
I guess.
Go to,
Yeah.
Go to Germany.
Go to Germany instead of Nam, which was
Wow.
very
Yeah.
fortunate.
Yes.
Like I said, had a ball. A lot of friendly girls over there. They had flippy machines like we have Coke machines.
flippy.
Flippy. It was a bottle of beer,
Nice.
a typical bottle, but on the top it had a ceramic cap with a wire.
Oh, yeah. And like a cork.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So you flipped it open.
Yeah.
And
Like
they were
champagne. You just
No. You pushed the wire and
Okay.
the,
Okay.
the,
And then,
the
like-
ceramic cork thing, or
Oh, yeah,
it was
okay.
actually a rubber gasket.
I
It's
see what you're saying.
connected,
But,
dangling.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
For a quarter. They had to, it was a mark, which was equal to a quarter.
Is that the dog crying?
Keep talking.
And I got to see a lot of Europe. Paris was very dirty.
Really?
Yeah. Austria. Bottom line, it was.
How'd the dog get stuck under the
I
deck?
have no. Well, she climbed under. Stupid. But it was a lot of fun. When I met my first minority,
Really?
we didn't have any minorities in Dillonville. Let's not get into that. Let's just say I was enlightened.
Gotcha. But so what was your main job? Go ahead.
Patrol.
You'd basically.
We had a Jeep. We'd patrol in Jeeps.
Was it actually a Jeep? Like.
Yeah, regular military Jeep.
That's so cool.
One of my jobs while I was there was driver to the adjutant general. The adjutant general was like the state's attorney for the military.
Oh, the JAG. guy?
Jag Adjutant General.
Oh. JAG.
That's when I really got to see a lot of Germany. And then I was driving a Chevy, 4-door sedan, military Chevy. The Autobahn, no speed limit.
In a V8 Chevy.
What in a V8? Well, I don't know if it had a V8 or 6, but it that was a lot of fun. I got paid extra for it. Every time we left our station, the barracks, we get paid extra.
Oh, wow.
So
There you go. And you're just driving.
yeah.
So you never really saw any action? Never.
Well, closest I came, you've heard of the 100-Day War.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have.
We went on alert. They thought that we'd have to get involved in it.
That's when like
Kinda
the
like a-
Nazis started bombing the.
No,
that's a bad
no,
joke.
it's Israel.
Oh shit. Was that the thing where for Christmas there was a ceasefire?
No, that sounds familiar. They kept bombing and they.
I still think in World War II. I just watched Band of Brothers. Sorry.
No, it was a good show.
Anyway.
You keep.
So we were on alert, which meant, you go and be ready. So they flew us to Turkey
Oh.
in a standby. Never left the airport.
Oh, wow.
Stayed there. I don't forget how many days.
So it was like an all hands on deck kind of thing.
Yeah, alert,
just
get ready.
in case.
Just in case. Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. But apparently a truce was said, or they
Mm-hmm.
made peace. Well, they're still not
They
at peace.
resolved
But
something.
they resolved it. So we went back to Germany.
Wow.
So you spent most of your time. How long were you actually deployed in the army?
2 years. That's what the draft was for, 2 years.
Mm.
If you enlisted for 3 or 4.
Right.
But drafting was 2 years.
2
Okay.
years
I always
or your
wondered.
life.
Or yeah, go to the brig. Again, they didn't have enough volunteers, so the
Yeah.
draft. Thank God they did away with that.
Yeah.
What president was that under?
Oh my goodness! It was when Martin Luther King was shot.
It wasn't Nixon. It was before Nixon.
Yeah. Nixon was 70. He got the tail end of the war, didn't he?
I can't. I
Oh,
think it was before Nixon.
I think it was whoever was before Nixon.
Ford was
I
after.
can remember who that was.
Shit.
LBJ. Garfield.
The best president ever.
Well, you're
Andrew
talking about
Garfield.
Reagan,
Yeah, there you go.
best president we ever had.
All we had in the 80s was Reagan and AIDS. That's from a movie.
I had a good time in the '80s.
Well, we'll get there. So
Yeah.
we're at the.
We're still in the 70s.
Yeah, we're right at the.
Okay.
Right
So,
at the
yeah.
cusp of the 70s.
So where were we? Oh, Germany. stationed first in Gießen. Then I went to Mainz, and then Kassel, which was northern part of Germany, real cold. We went on, I guess you call it bivouac, where we went out in our jeeps and trucks and pitched tents and
Camped out.
camped out.
Like just training for if you.
Yeah, it's just training. Yeah, so you were always in training.
Right.
Did they? You're good. Did you learn German? At
Very
all?
little, and I forgot most of it.
Just like the.
Was machen Sie heute Abend?
Okay.
What are you doing tonight? Ich liebe dich. I love you.
Eat schlibby dick.
Ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dick.
I don't know if this is accurate, but it sounds good.
I think it's right. It worked.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that's
But
what
a
they
lot of the
told
girls
you.
spoke English.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. My first encounter was with a barmaid at the beer garden that was close to the barracks. Her name was Ziggy.
Ziggy?
Yeah, she was a couple years older than me. She had breasts so big she could carry a mug of beer on each
Jesus.
to the table. But
What's a beer garden?
tavern, bar,
Oh, okay. All right.
it's called a beer garden.
That's awesome.
That's what they call it in Germany,
Yeah.
Jonna. God.
I know. Damn my uncultured self.
They had a
Ziggy.
drawback that women over there didn't shave their arms or their legs. But you got used to it.
Yeah. Do what you gotta do. I served.
I served my country.
Right?
I don't know, might have kids over there. I don't know.
I was going to say that.
Probably.
All right, let's talk.
Anyway, moving back on, so you would camp out. They'd send you out there.
That's when I got this one of the sickest times of my life. Guy brought a bottle of bourbon with him.
You've told me this.
Did I tell you?
I
Oh
never
boy!
heard this.
Yeah.
And well, to keep warm.
Yeah.
Oh, I overdid it. Boy, did I get sick. I'll never forget that. It cold.
Yeah. You're out there freezing in a tent,
Yeah.
just drinking
Yeah.
bourbon.
Now it wasn't pup tents, little tents. It was a,
Okay.
you know, like for 12 of us
Bigger canvas
with a
kind of
little
thing.
stove in it, which
Oh,
didn't
wow.
do
Yeah,
much.
you pussy.
Yeah. We wore what's called Mickey Mouse boots. They were rubber coated, but
Oh.
thick for winter.
So you got
Wool long johns, wool uniforms, itched.
I'm sure.
That was one of the not so nice times over there. But at one time, they called me in to talk and try to convince me to go to ROTC. No, in the Army they call it
Yeah, what?
OCS, Officers Candidate School.
Okay. So to try to promote you.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'd come out a lieutenant.
Yeah.
You basically have your like
Yeah, I don't
your,
know what ROTC is.
your enlisted officers, and then like if
Well,
you go-
You know, go ahead.
you could probably explain it better than me.
ROTC is usually offered by schools,
Yeah.
high schools and
Yeah.
college. Military training
Okay.
for officers.
To like prep you to
Yes,
become an officer.
exactly.
Like when Melissa graduated.
OCS is Officers Candidate School. That's where you go, and it's like West Point.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like Melissa went to the Naval Academy. When she graduated, she was a lieutenant. So like, but then if you just enlist, you're like an E1 up to E9 or something, and then
8 or 9, that's sergeant, master sergeant, something like that. I ended up being an E4 specialist, 4th class,
E4 special.
which is just below sergeant.
Oh, okay.
Sergeants were E5s.
That's cool.
But
Damn.
the problem was I had just come back from a training where we crawled through the mud with live machine gun fire over our
Jesus.
heads. I reported in filthy, dirty, muddy.
Stay down, stay down.
And they offered me the school, and I said, no, thank you. And I knew that all new lieutenants go to Nam.
Oh.
And who were the first
Okay.
ones shot over there?
Wow.
So I was looking out for myself. But
Yeah, yeah. Jesus
So
Christ. Yeah, the Germans would like specifically.
yeah, they'd go for that bar on your helmet.
Yep, they knew who you were. They knew you were a leader.
The little butter bars.
What's that?
Butter bars. The two little.
No, lieutenant's one bar, one gold bar,
What's two gold bars?
captain.
Okay. I heard someone. I work with
Still,
a guy
they-
from the army, and he called them butter bars.
Yeah, he's a captain.
Yeah, they would go for the higher ranked officers
Yeah.
and take them out first.
One gold bar was first lieutenant. A silver gold bar was second lieutenant, which is a little higher. Then same thing with silver bars, double bars. You called them both captain, but and you call lieutenants lieutenants, whether they were first or second. Then you go up to major and colonel and general.
So what was your insignia?
It was a triangular, almost triangular with a, my goodness, what is it in the middle of it? An eagle? No. It's on my uniform.
Star.
No.
You still have your uniform?
Yeah. Mom found it in her cedar.
Oh, this was just
Okay.
recently.
Yeah.
She brought it over.
A couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it still fits.
That's crazy.
It's in my room. The blue ribbon or braid, which meant military police, my expert badges, my honorable discharge, my good conduct,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
the corporal patch, and the eagle, or the griffin rather, which was 709th MP Battalion.
709th MP Battalion. So is that like when you watch Band of Brothers and they say the 101st Airborne?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Each branch had subdivisions, numbers. Originally, we went over, we were 7th Army. You've seen that on Patton's uniform. It was a triangle with 7 steps,
Yeah.
like a pyramid.
Yeah.
We called it the 7 steps to Mary's bedroom.
Ah.
Or no, Heidi's bedroom. That's what it was.
Heidi.
7 steps to Heidi's bedroom.
Because you were in Germany?
We got along with the Germans. We called them Krauts. The girls we called sweet names. Yeah, again, that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
So you ended up, it was scary when you got drafted at first, but then it ended up being a really cool experience.
Oh yeah, it was well worth it. Well worth it. Yeah,
That's awesome.
learned a lot.
Good.
Grew up.
Yeah.
It formed you into the man that you were to become.
Helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure there's much more, but yeah.
Well, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
Dad taught me work ethic.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as we were old enough, we did it.
Yeah.
And he worked hard.
Yeah.
God bless him. And Mom, like I said at her birthday, she taught us respect and
Compassion.
Compassion.
Stuff like that.
Like, I remember you taught me how to sew, and I asked you, like, I was like, where'd you learn how to sew? And you're like, the Army.
oh yeah, well, hand sew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hand sew
Yeah.
For, like, stitching. Yeah, none of
Yeah,
that.
you got promoted. You'd sew on your stripes
Yeah.
or your when we change patches. Then to get it right away, then you send your other uniforms to the cleaners. They had laundry,
Yeah.
and they'd put patches on for you.
So I remember stuff like that. All right, so you did 2 years in the Army.
Yeah.
And then,
I got discharged. They flew me to Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Jersey.
New Jersey.
It's a hell of a place to come back to after leaving
So-
there.
so Uncle Chuck and Uncle Joe were in the Army and Navy.
Joe was in.
Joe's Army.
Joe was in the Army in Thailand.
And did you guys all leave at the same time, or
No, he was
Oh, yeah.
4 years old, younger.
Yeah. So everyone got drafted at different times.
Did Joe get drafted? Chuck joined.
Yeah. He just enlisted?
Yeah, he joined the
Navy.
Navy. Went to
Yeah.
San Diego. USS Sculpin submarine.
Gulp. Oh, he was a
Sculpin.
Submarine.
Yeah, he was in submarines.
Oh, that's
Wow.
cool. How long did he? Was he in the Navy?
I think Joe enlisted.
Hmm.
Not sure.
Followed his brother's footsteps.
Well, I got called. But
And then Uncle Steve just lucked out.
yeah.
He never got called.
Yeah.
I remember he used
Well,
to.
by the time he was old enough, Vietnam was
Fizzled out.
fizzled
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I remember he used to say he hid under the bleachers when they were calling the names.
We always kid him.
Yeah.
Draft dodger.
But so they all went in after. So you went in, came home, and no one else had been out. You were the only person.
Let's see. When I came home, I took a Greyhound bus to Steubenville again.
Mm-hmm.
Dad picked me up. Came home.
What was that moment like?
Oh, it's great.
Just coming
Oh,
home for the
when
first
you were
time.
get ready to be discharged, you'd count the days.
Yeah.
And you'd yell short timer. So one guy would yell short 50 days. Another guy would yell shorter 40 days. Shortest 3 days.
Wow.
You heard that every day
Yeah.
because we literally counted the days.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
How do you contact Grandpap to say, "Hey, I'm out of the military. Come pick me up in Jersey"?
It's like Morse
Oh,
code.
we
or
had
something.
phones.
There wasn't Morse code on a.
It wasn't smoke signals or drums. We had a phone.
But like, you're in Germany. You find out you're coming home. Did you?
Oh, I
have to-
called him from Dick's.
Okay,
I didn't
so,
call him from Germany.
so you had to stay at.
No,
at
and
the
we
fort for
wrote.
a while. Yeah.
I wrote.
Yeah.
Not enough, but I did write.
The mail was. Yeah.
Did you have like a
Going back and forth.
girlfriend when you were about to ship out that you had like this
One?
stereotypical movie? One.
There was Ziggy. There was Yuta.
But like, I
There
mean,
was-
in America,
We're not talking about Germany.
in America,
Before-
when you were like,
Oh,
I'll write you every
Angie,
day.
my first wife. Oh, of course.
Gee, wait.
What?
You were married.
Let's back up.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were married before.
No. When I got out. After.
Okay, but no one before.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Too young. I didn't want to get married.
Well, I
Or
remember you-
girlfriend, something like.
Yeah, something like I remember you used to tell stories that you would have different names. So if
Yeah.
some
That was when I was a cop.
Oh, okay.
I'd
so we're
be
getting
Andy,
there.
Okay.
Drew, or Andrew.
Independent.
And depending on who they asked for, when my roommate Harry would answer the phone, I'd take the call or not.
Harry from Arizona.
Well, he's originally from Maryland, College Park.
Okay.
But he lives in
The same
Arizona.
Harry.
He
I'm
moved
thinking.
Uncle
after
Harry.
he left the department. He
Uncle
went
Harry.
to Arizona.
Wow.
He was my best friend.
Yeah.
He was my best man at 2 of my weddings. Or was it? Yeah, 2 of them. Yeah.
All right, so
So you want to know about Angie?
well, no. Okay.
Angela.
So what year is this now that we're at? You're
I'm out?
You're in New Jersey.
It's
Grandpa picked-
late 68 going on 69.
Yeah. You come home.
Yeah.
So, Grandpa picks you up.
Picks me up and come
You
home.
go home.
You're back at Dillonvale.
Yeah.
Dillonville.
Yeah.
Dillonville.
But back up. When I got my notice that I was drafted,
Mm-hmm.
I came home to get the physical, passed it.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been more than a week, because while I was home, I met Angie. And we dated and actually corresponded
Oh.
back and
Okay.
forth while I was in Germany. Angie Plinta.
Plinta.
Yeah.
Was she Mexican?
No. Probably Polish.
And she was
Angie. Yeah, she was endowed.
Bustful.
Her sister even more, which Steve ended up dating.
Wow.
Anyway.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
you-
we kept up. When I got discharged, she had already moved to Greenbelt because she got a job at the FBI.
Oh wow.
Oh shit.
There wasn't much in Ohio unless you wanted to work in a mine or a steel mill. There wasn't much opportunity there.
Yeah.
So she was working for the FBI. When I got discharged, got in my '61 Chevy convertible, and
The same one that just sat until you came home.
Steve drove it while I was gone. In fact, one day he was driving it, the hood flipped up, broke his windshield, my windshield. They got it fixed. So when I got discharged, I came down and moved in with her. And we were living together for a while. That's when I bought my first new car, traded in the convertible for a '68 Mustang.
Nice.
What were you doing for work when you came back?
My first job was for HFC, Household Finance Company. I would call deadbeats that weren't paying their loan.
Okay.
That's where-
It was a loan
Okay. Yeah, like
place, Household Finance Corporation.
Isn't that where you met Uncle Harry?
Yes.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry. I met him at Charles E. Wilson Insurance Adjusters. That was my second job.
Christ.
I've had a lot of jobs.
Yes.
Is it because you just got bored and wanted to jump, or
I hate the finance company.
no? Just like you've had so many jobs, like you just get one. And
Oh,
you're like,
no! Back at even school, I was a janitor for a couple of years.
oh, okay.
Scrubber for years.
So you just always
Through my
like
whole
having
high school, I
jobs.
think I was a scrubber.
Just opportunity.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And work ethic, and
Yeah.
I wanted to make my own money.
yeah.
Yeah.
your
I
own
got
boss.
tired of Dad cutting my hair, so we had a barber, and I started getting haircuts
Yeah.
by a professional. Bought a lot of my own clothes.
Yeah.
Andrew farted.
Well, it's good he's over there.
Sorry. It's kind of bad.
So I met Angie, moved in with her. My first was working for Household Finance. Had my new Mustang. She was working FBI.
Was she like? What did she do for the FBI?
Oh, secretary, something like that. Nothing.
Oh, she wasn't like an agent.
No,
or something.
no,
Like-
no, no,
okay.
no.
And to what? Like, give details on the Mustang.
It was dark green, black vinyl interior, automatic. I used to shift through the gears, pretend it was stick.
Mm-hmm.
Had a gold, I guess, racing stripe down the side.
Like the little C on the side.
Yeah,
Nice.
the long
Yeah.
C. And that's funny. I was outside one day. This is months later. Outside one day, I had white paint, and I had Firestone tires,
Mm.
and I was painting the letters white
Uh-huh.
for raised white letter tires. And I turn around, and there's Angie's mother and father. Long story short, when are you two getting married?
Oh, jeez.
Right away, Dad.
Yeah.
How long had you been dating at that point? Like,
Oh, this is months.
yeah, not very long.
Not very long.
Was
not
that
very
normal
long.
back in the 60s and 70s?
Well, this would have been, the Mustang was a 68. So 69, because we were married when I joined the police department. So wasn't dating her very long, but we got along great.
Yeah.
She was a terrific girl, terrific. We got married. We had a couple of apartments. One of them, one day we left. No, it was a different apartment house. We were caught on fire,
Oh, Jesus.
and we had this little dog, Yorkshire Terrier, I guess it was. It was her dog. And I remember her screaming and yelling, "We've got to save the dog." So this fireman went in and saved the dog. So we moved from there to another place. Then we ended up renting a little house in Laurel.
Maryland?
Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, if you go down Route 1 to Whiskey Bottom Road,
Yep.
there's a California Inn on the right side. It's closed now.
Yeah.
If you turn left, that first little house, if it's still there, little house, very real tiny. 2-bedroom, living room and kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's still there?
If it's still there, I don't know.
Because that's...
Next to by the ice cream factory there.
Yeah, and but the closed Harley dealerships just down the road from that, right?
Oh, I thought it was down Route 1. I've never been there. I don't know.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Is it by was it Crazy Ray's?
Well, California Inn's on the right. You turn left. It's 100 feet down on the left.
We're gonna have
Just
to
a
check that
little
out.
stucco house sitting there with a little carport in the back. At that time, I had the 67 Corvette. My first Corvette. Yeah. So it was burgundy, black leather, V6 or no V6 V8, but like a 327, I guess. Stick. My first Corvette.
Was the little stucco house the first house you ever owned?
We rented it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, we didn't buy it. We rented it. By then, she had quit the FBI and worked for Greyhound in Laurel.
Oh.
I don't know if it's still there, but it was actually a increase in pay, and she did pretty well there. In time, I don't know who came first, Steve or her sister Barbara. Anyway, Steve and Barbara ended up moving in with us,
Oh, wow.
and
And that
they got
little
along. Yeah, they lived with us quite a while. We were there quite a bit, quite long. Unfortunately, one day I just decided to leave. Something stupid happened. I had a friend at the police department, Frank Becker. We did a lot of fishing together. We went to the bay real early one morning to go bay fishing. And got home. And I forget, did I not tell her I was going? Or all I remember was apparently we had breakfast at our house, Frank and I, and left a mess. Toast crumbs or whatever. And she blew her mind over that. And I just said, bye. Wish I never had, but because she was great. Anyway, left there and moved in with Harry, who I'd already met, because when I left HFC, my first job, I went to work for Charles E. Wilson, insurance adjusters. They worked for USAA Insurance, which at the time only did officers. So I was an adjuster. I'd go out and interview them after the accident and check damage and the typical adjuster stuff.
Oh.
And that's where I met Harry. And worked there quite a bit. And he's the one that talked me into applying for the police department because he was dying to be a cop.
That's 1969.
Yes.
So
I passed the test. He failed it.
Yeah, you told me about that.
So like a week later, I'm going to the academy. We went to Baltimore City's academy. Howard County didn't have one. So one or two times later, he finally passed it, and he came on.
That bums me out because when I would go to the training academy for Howard County for either when I was a police explorer for any of the fire department stuff I do, I look at all the academy classes, and they didn't have an academy till like 11 years after
Yeah.
you did. So I don't get to see.
There
the
were
picture.
there were 61 of us.
Yeah.
I was Unit 59. I forget who was 60. Wade White. Wade White was 60. And somebody else was 61. So there were 61 of us for the whole county.
What was the like? You know what I've gone through to try
Yeah.
and get into police.
It was nothing like that.
Yeah, like your mind was blown when I told you
Yeah.
the stuff I've had to do.
A lot tougher. A lot tougher.
Like, I always joke that they were just like, oh, do you know how to shoot a gun? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, here you go, officer. But, I mean, there's more to it than
Oh,
that.
yeah, a lot more, yeah.
But, like, what...
Baltimore City's well, getting hired was you pass the test, you pass an interview or two. The test, the only thing I can remember about the test was it asked you what counties surrounded Howard,
We had to do, like,
who was-
algebra.
who was the leader of each country during World War II.
Oh, wow.
Stalin, Churchill, Roosevelt.
Who was the
Uh,
Italian guy?
Mussolini.
Mussolini.
Well, of the Allies.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's questions like that.
that's ridiculous.
Interviews. Got hired right away, and I got points for being in the military.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
probably a
Yeah.
leg up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
the City Academy was a joke. It was all war stories.
Mm.
You learned some hand to hand, a lot of shooting,
Yeah.
some hand to hand,
It's Baltimore.
basic law.
How long was the academy?
Like 3 months. Yeah,
It's so hard now.
yeah. A lot tougher. Yeah, a lot tougher.
So you just sat in classrooms and they would
Tell war stories.
tell war
Yeah,
stories.
The teachers were sergeants. Sergeants been here 25, 30 years.
Wow.
That kind of thing.
And they were Baltimore City. They
Yes.
didn't have any HOCO guys. They just shipped you over
There
there.
were 4 of us in the academy in that class.
That's cool. So you did three months of that, and
Then you went to ride along with what did they call us? Yeah.
field training officers.
Yeah, FTO.
FTOs.
Yeah. I don't know, 2 months maybe. That's where you learned,
Yeah.
and then you're on your own.
Wow.
Here's the keys. Eventually, they gave us take-home cars. It wasn't long after I joined that they gave us take-home cars. Terry Cheney was the first one to get one. He was 5-0. His number was 50.
Oh,
50.
that's cool.
And that's what we call him, 50.
Why is that a term? Like like people.
Hawaii 50.
Oh, it's just because of that.
Yeah, that's all. Cop.
Did you have a partner at all, or were you just
No,
by
we were
yourself?
always by ourselves.
Never
Wow.
did a partner
Always.
system.
After the FTO.
Yeah.
All right, so it's like 1970. You're a Howard County cop.
Yeah.
1 out of 61.
Yeah.
And you lived in Catonsville.
No, still living in Laurel.
Oh, okay.
Maybe about a year after I joined, I left Angie. Moved in with Harry because we were still friends, Well, by then I think he was on. Moved in, he and I, to his mother's house. The basement had a finished basement. So we moved in there, and I was living there
Where was that?
in Savage.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah, right up the street.
That's why you knew. Is that why you call it Sauvage?
Savage, Lisbon, downtown Lisbon.
Okay.
That's cool.
Of course, Harry had a Corvette, so eventually I had to get one, so I did.
That's why you got your 67?
Yeah.
So what part of Savage did you live in?
I think it was Jefferson Street.
Okay. Because, like, Franny's mom lives on Baltimore Street.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to picture, because that's,
It was one of the ones that go north-south.
yeah. Because Savage is small. That's a small little town. Okay. That's cool.
Remember one day waking up and put my feet on the floor, and it was 6 inches of water.
Oh, God.
We had had a storm, and somehow the water got into the house and flooded. So I ended up building like a dike between where we thought it was coming in, between the two houses. Keep that from happening. She had a pool.
Oh.
Her husband had died by then. She was a great lady, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
Made the best chili you could ever eat.
Really?
Oh, she made good chili. And I took care of the pool for her. Yeah, lived there, I don't know, a while. Dating here and there. See, what did happen next?
Your second wife?
Well, can I ask, and you don't have to answer this.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about it, but I don't know if if Andrew was ever told, but Mom always told us don't ask about 1970 because that's when like a really bad flood happened or something.
Yeah, that was the Agnes flood.
Yeah, like
I thought it was 69. It might have been 70.
She said it was
Agnes flood, nowhere near the recent one.
but she said like you had to do a lot of bad. She said like you had to basically spend an entire summer like pulling bodies.
No.
Oh really? That
No.
While
The only body I've ever pulled was in Germany.
Oh.
This GI got hit by a train in his car.
Huh.
And there were pieces of body up and down the tracks. So we were sent out to collect all the body parts. MPs.
Oh, yeah.
That is, if we could beat getting the piece before the Germans came in and took souvenirs.
Jesus.
Krauts. Anyway, spent the whole night doing that. Couldn't find his head.
Jesus Christ.
Until the next morning, we got a call. They found his head. It was in his chest.
Oh, God.
So we ended the search.
All right, guys, come home.
Yeah, we found his
found it.
head. So
Oh, okay.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
I'm trying to skip over the gruesome stuff.
No. The gruesome stuff's awesome.
Well, that reminds people ask you, what did you do? I said, retired Howard County cop.
Yeah.
Oh, did you ever shoot anybody? Actually, I don't even want to talk about it. It wasn't all fun. You met some good people, but you didn't meet a lot of nice people. In fact, you met a lot of terrible people. But it had its rewards. I don't regret it at all.
I mean, you did it for
And it gave me a
20
pension.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You did it 23
absolutely.
years.
I did 23 because 2 years military
Yeah.
counted. So I
Yeah.
went out with 25.
That's so. Okay, so when people hear that I'm a firefighter, they always say, "What's the worst thing you've ever seen?"
Yeah,
And you just said like you're not going to talk about it, but you.
No, you don't want to talk about finding dead babies, crib deaths, suicides, hanging,
Yeah.
drownings,
But you did see some stuff.
You've seen all that.
accidents.
But so like for the record, that 1970 thing isn't true.
I don't know where she's gotten that.
Yeah, I don't.
And I don't think the flood was well, if she's talking about the flood.
I remember 1970. She said, "Don't ever ask your dad about 1970 because there was a really bad hurricane or something, and you spent like an entire summer as a rookie cop pulling dead bodies out of the water."
I don't know where she got that. You have to ask her.
Well, we'll get her on this next time.
And I don't think it was 70. Agnes, I thought was 69. Oh, anyway, it was about that time. But I didn't even go to that flood.
What the hell?
I never got a call.
lived my whole life in
I was
fear.
off. Well, keep that memory.
Yeah, it's a good
There
memory.
must be something there that I'm not aware of.
You blocked it out. All right, so at
So
some
where were we? Yeah. What? Not good.
so we're around like 1970, 1971. At some
Yeah.
point, you moved to Catonsville, and
Yeah, I bought a house in Catonsville. Well, 71, I bought my second new car, 71 Corvette. LT1. Love that car. Brands hatch green, saddle interior, white top. We used to go to a bar in Catonsville called Tapsco Inn. I think it's some kind of sports bar now. It's right as soon as you get into Catonsville on 40, it's on the left. And that's where I met Cindy.
There we go.
Cynthia Dwayne Baladarsh Wynick.
Wow.
was she Jewish?
No,
Or-
I don't even know what she was. Her maiden name was Wynick. Might have been German.
Krauts.
And I just fell for her. And we made a habit, a routine of going there every Thursday night for some reason. Band playing there was called The Sound of Dust, whatever that's supposed to mean, but they were great. They played just about everything, and we'd go there dance. Ended up, she had a row house just inside the Baltimore City line. And I ended up moving in with her. And that went on for like 9 years.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And for some reason, we decided to get married. We got married. 9 months later, I built this house with her help and her brother's help. Her brothers, especially her brother, not Richard, but
Richie.
no, Richard was
Raymond.
No, it's nothing like that. Give me a minute. Why am I so bad on names today? Anyway, her brother was in hardwood floors as his work.
Yeah.
So that's why you see so much hardwood in here, because I got it real cheap. And I built it. I had a contractor, do a lot of the work, but we did a lot. We did the painting. We did the trim. All the woodwork you see inside the floors.
Oh, I've seen like old Polaroids.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
built this house.
Yeah. Well, we cleared the land. I cut down trees,
Yeah, this was all trees where we're
Yeah.
sitting right now.
sold the wood, which gave me enough money to drill the well
Wow.
for the water.
Well, there's this was all woods and farmland for Mr. Pipes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And how did you get to? I'm trying to not go too far without getting more story. Like, so this is what, like 1980.
This
something?
is just before Reagan, because it was Jimmy Carter was president. One of the worst. He's almost as bad as Obama. Anyway, interest rates were 22%
Mm.
on a mortgage,
Wow.
where they're typically 5-6%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The country was going to hell in a handbasket. So I bought the land, was making payments on it from Mr. Pipes. Great old guy. He eventually passed away. With the hopes of building, but couldn't finance a house. You couldn't build a house at 22%.
Right.
So Mr. Reagan came in, straightened everything out.
Was he 80 to 88?
80, and it sounds right, yeah.
Yeah.
Best president we ever had. Republican. Conservative. Interest rates came down reasonably, 4, 5, 6%. So I was able to build.
So what year? So you were living in Catonsville with long name. Well, okay. The lady you're living
Well,
with.
you call it Catonsville. It was actually Baltimore City,
Oh, okay.
Further
right
down.
inside the line, just
Yeah.
out of Catonsville.
But so you were living with, what was her name?
Cynthia.
Cindy.
Cynthia. Cindy.
Cindy.
You were living with Cindy.
Yeah.
You're been dating for years.
Yeah. Got married. Went up. We built this house.
82.
Something happened. She left.
What?
She swears that she came down one morning and found, you know how when you move, you get a card from the post office saying change of address?
Yeah.
She says she found one of them on the table, which was a hint to her to get out. To this day, it doesn't make sense.
So she thought you were changing your address?
No, she thought I wanted her out.
What the hell?
But anyway,
How long had you been married?
9 months.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
But they were together 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so how long? What year was it when you bought this property?
77, 78.
So you held on to it for 2 or 3
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And what is this, an acre?
Yeah.
And so how'd you meet? I'm backtracking a bit. How'd you meet Mr. Pipes? Like, because you're living in Baltimore City.
Well, as a cop, I was patrolling the county,
was this the area?
and I was looking, and I just liked this area. Yeah.
Because like even there was no road coming here. It was just
Yeah,
old
there was a
friggin-
road here. It's the rule. The property owner builds the road, has it plotted out for home sites. So he built the road, dedicated it to the county. So I was able to drive up. There was no house on either side. That's a 2-acre lot over there to our left.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a 1-acre lot. For some reason, this was like $1,000 or $2 cheaper. I was going to buy 2 acres. This was $1,000 or $2 cheaper than Glad Hills lot. I still don't know why, but they're almost identical.
Yeah.
So I bought this one and sat on it for a couple of years. Yeah.
So were you the first person to move here?
Oh, very shortly after, the Glad Hills built, and then Jane Ingalls built his house.
But so like this was all woods, and you just had this house being built here, and then he started selling off plots of land.
Oh, he'd been selling. Yeah.
But you were like the first to.
There were houses across the street. I think the Clarks were there.
Oh, okay.
Couple down that way, couple this way. Yeah, it wasn't the first. No, there were several here.
And he called it
Pipes Lane dead ended
Mm-hmm.
right down here.
at Heatherwood.
Yeah. Well, before that.
Before.
Like, right at
Willow
the hill.
Springs.
Yeah. Right where it starts to go down.
Yeah.
It's dead end.
It's a. He called it Pipes Lane after himself. Like he
Yeah.
just-
And Gridstead Court behind us.
oh,
That's his wife's maiden name.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Underwood is just from whatever.
Yeah. That was there. It's been there for long before.
Yeah. That's crazy. So you just like you were patrolling around one day and you were like, hey,
Looking
there's
for property. Yeah.
there's a farmer.
Well, I wanted to find out who the seller was.
Mm-hmm.
Approached him, made a deal. Neighbor back there, he's passed on. Shivers. Forget his first name. He was an attorney. He set up the loan agreement for Mr. Pipes and me. Like I say, he passed on eventually, but I think his wife still lives back there.
Wow.
Yeah, made payments on it. When the rates came down, built.
What made you pick this spot? Like
Liked it. Looked at a lot.
Yeah.
you
A
just
lot
kept,
of lots.
You just kept driving up to this one and you were like, I like that.
Yeah. Close, relatively close to Ellicott City.
Yeah.
Close to 70. Short trip to work and back.
Yeah.
That's
I
cool.
liked it. The price was right.
Can you remember? Like
17,000.
just for that's cool. And for an acre. It's just a
That's what I paid. 17,000.
Wow.
And I think that one was 18.5 for some reason.
Mm.
It might be a few feet bigger. I don't know, but
Yeah.
this is a full
Or
acre.
it's flatter, maybe.
Yeah.
Slightly less hill.
We kind of go up a little bit.
I wish I'd built it a little more this way, because you have all these woods here
Mm.
from their house,
Yeah.
and not as close to the Glad Hills. But actually, when you buy the property, it's all laid out for you, where the well should go,
Oh,
the
really?
septic, where the foundation should go. Yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah, build it.
Did you design the house, or did you?
We'd pick plans.
You just it was like a pre-made.
Looked at a lot of plans. And, yeah. The only thing we changed was it was supposed to be a 4-bedroom. We made our bedroom a master bedroom by eliminating one room. We made the family room 3 or 4 feet deeper
Mm.
that way.
Huh.
Just make it bigger. That was the only changes.
That's cool.
And Cindy, she liked dark. That's why you saw that dark wood. You still see it upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
But everything was dark. Look at the floors.
Well, the family room used to have like 2 windows, and it was like cedar or something, wasn't
yeah,
it?
the panels. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I added 2 more windows,
Yeah.
Yeah.
more light. I was pretty handy. I was a home improvement contractor for a while. Started building decks. You guys know all this.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
when did you become a contractor? In regards
Well, I was a
to,
cop.
You were at the same time.
Oh yeah, we were on an easy schedule where you'd work 4 off 3,
Okay. So in
almost
your
as good
spare
as
time-
firemen. So everybody had a part-time job. Yeah, and I was building decks. And,
Do you know what year you started?
no, probably middle 80s, mid 80s.
Oh, okay.
Again, part-time.
And then, because it just started because you wanted a deck here, which we're sitting on right
No, I
now.
had already been doing it.
Oh. Oh, I always thought you were just like, I'm gonna make my own deck.
Oh no, wait. As a contractor?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think I did build this one first. I learned a lot building the house, and then I like building decks. So So it was after I built the house. Yeah.
So another mom story is she said that you threw a deck party to celebrate your deck, and apparently some dude was like, "Hey, who made it?" And you were like, "Me." And that's how it kind of. He was like, "Hey, I
That
want."
could be. That could very well be. Probably a friend. Did a lot of work for friends
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. And then you just
because I
turned it-
didn't have. I wasn't licensed or any of that. I was just doing it when I could. People that knew me.
That's cool. And so you did that on the side. Jeez. Okay, so I'm all scrambled. What year are we at now?
Well, cop, part-time home improvement contractor. Eventually got my license
Mm-hmm.
and
Started-
went legitimate.
AKA.
Uncle Joe was working for me. Cindy's brother, what was his name?
Is this after you guys divorced?
No, before. I forget. She had 2 brothers. 3 brothers. Richard? I can't think of it. Anyway.
So this is like mid 80s. Or no, it was like around 1980, 1981. You got a loan for the house or a mortgage for it. Started building it.
Closer to 83, 4 probably.
'Cause, like,
No, you're right. Because I scratched it into the concrete in front of the porch or the garage. It was 1980, December 80, we moved in.
Oh, so you finished it in
Yeah,
December of 1980.
yeah.
Oh. Okay, cool. All right. Because I've always seen that and I always wondered what that was.
Well, you see that scratched out part?
Yeah.
That was Cindy.
Because it says like Russ.
She called me Russ. Yeah, that was one of the other names I used.
Russ. That's cool. So mom,
Always took the phone call from whoever asked for Russ.
was it mom that had you scratch it out, or did you scratch it out?
I did.
Yeah. Because that's a weird, that's a mystery.
What?
Like why she thought that.
To this day, I'd like to find out before I die, but it's not the end of the world.
I mean, you ever think about like Facebook searching her?
No. I'm sure she's okay. I ran into one of her brothers at Home Depot, Richard Dick, and the only comment he made was she's let herself go to hell. She's apparently way overweight. She was slim, petite.
When did you run into him?
Oh, maybe a year ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, he lives right over here on Sand Hill.
What?
Yeah.
So
He's always lived there. He's a good guy. All three of our brothers were good.
does he work at like 84 Lumber?
No, he was always in business for himself. He had he would rebuild engines and rebuild engines in cars. He had a shop, Red Branch Road, Columbia.
He wasn't the guy that had the hardwood business?
No, that's the one I can't remember.
Her other brother.
Her other brother, yeah.
Okay.
Then her third brother, he worked for me. He was a general carpenter.
That blows my mind.
What is that?
Like
Family.
right, but like it was a year ago that you ran into him
Yeah. Out of the blue.
and you recognized him.
I recognized his voice, actually. I was looking, I was building a table for the basement to work on the models, the planes. So I was looking for a big plank of wood. I was looking at it, and what did he say? How you doing, Russ?
Oh, he called you.
Yeah, that whole family called me Russ. He saw me, and I turned
Okay.
around, and I knew him right away.
Is that why it says Russ in the
Yeah,
concrete
you
up
missed that
front?
part, yeah.
Yeah,
And I scratched out
I was
the other
taking a
part.
piss, sorry.
You want to take a timeout?
Yeah.
Go ahead, go take a break. I can. I'll just keep it running and I'll delete this section.
Okay. Woo.
This is awesome.
Oh, that isn't half of it.
No. I mean, I could make it a two-parter.
Because I think we skipped a lot of details.
Yeah, like the 70s and 80s.
Kind of jumped from like when he got back from the war.
You're doing good.
No, thank you for this. Like
This is awesome.
yeah, it really is.
Can we get the floor for it?
No, don't. No, that's
You have to. That's what we're here for.
maybe that'll be some other day when he's like 80.
We gotta get him wasted.
When he's 80. That's what I was saying. Just get him drunk and he'll talk.
Maybe, okay, so that'll be the special edition. All right, so we'll have him come back. I'll start, like, it's still recording right now. We'll have him come back, and I'll say, okay, we're gonna end it here, and we'll pick up in. What year did he say you met Cindy?
Jesus.
It's gonna hear. I can delete shit.
I don't remember. I don't remember years. I'm bad with years. But it was like right when he came back from the
It's
war.
like 1973.
I can tell he's not opening up completely. Like he's telling us stuff, like a lot of stuff that I didn't know, but not completely. Like he even said it himself. He's like, "Oh, people ask me all the time, what's the worst thing you saw?" and blah blah blah. blah.
Yeah, the police stuff, because he's told me some of that. Like,
Yeah.
he said he's had like calls where a dude literally cut a baby apart.
So he had always told me as a kid he fired his gun once at like some guy stealing a TV or
Yeah.
something like that.
Like stuck it in his head.
But that's not true.
Well, he told me that it was a kid who stole a TV running down the street, and he was so pissed that he had to chase someone on Christmas night that he threw the kid against the car, put his gun to the kid's head, and said, like, "Don't fucking move." And then, like, he realized what he was doing, and he reholstered.
Jesus.
But fuck. Should we just maybe we'll end it here, and then we'll come back
think you should kind of just say like a little segue, like.
Definitely gonna cut that out. Taking them away.
Hi.
Oh, fuck is that? Oh, I'm joking. I'm just trying to... I didn't say anything, kid.
Sweet Caroline, bum bum bum.
If you're not enjoying this, I don't want to.
I gotta cook dinner. Nona's going crazy with the kids.
What time is it?
It's 7.
Oh, come on.
Alright, cool.
You gotta bring.
Yeah, it's 7.
Wow, what time do we start?
We've been on for like an hour and a half, probably. So I think we're just gonna do like a exit closing thing, and then
Okay.
Jonna can edit all this.
I'll cut all this out. Are you okay doing this again?
Yeah.
I had a good time.
Are you having fun? Like, my worry is like.
I just told Andrew, just be with you guys. We used to talk today.
Let's put my headphones in.
Just be with you guys is fun.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Caroline on there.
Now you
Yeah, like.
go back inside.
I'd have a fear that like I drudge up bad memories or something. But if you're having fun doing this, I'm having a lot of fun.
Did you touch
Makes
something?
me recall. I'm at the age where I'm starting to think about the past. Things I did wrong, things I did right. Good times, bad times. Grandma, my mom, going through the same thing.
It's good to get this all out and just
Yeah,
talk
it is.
about it. And,
That's really cool.
and
Is,
we're learning, you know.
I can't think of anything I regret. Had little things like I should have never left R&H Motor Cars.
Really?
Oh, there was a future there, yeah.
No shit.
Little things like that.
All right. So would you be okay if we ended it here and said like we'll pick up in like 1970? Because I feel like we jumped through 70 and 80 a little bit.
Yeah, there was some skipping around.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So like we can end it in 19, or would it be 19? Maybe like right once you get into the police, and then like maybe like not do the whole what's your worst ever call
Yeah.
BS, but like tell some stories through that because like you did that for a long time, and
20
Yeah, I can
years.
talk about the good times.
Yeah, talk about
there were a
exactly.
lot of good times.
so
Yeah.
maybe we'll start up in like the early 70s.
Do like a little recap of how you got in there and
Sounds like a plan.
And we'll finish it.
pick it back up.
All right, good.
All right, so you okay with that, or did you?
Yeah,
wanna
I'm
keep
fine.
going?
I'm fine with it.
Were you planning on?
Give me time to think about other stuff.
There you go. Yeah.
Because we have an hour and 40 minutes.
That long. Really didn't seem that long.
Probably like 5 minutes to cut out just from when you had to go to the bathroom.
Boy, did I. Ooh, boy, did I have to go.
All right, so this this has been awesome.
This really has.
This is
Really? Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
this is
Yeah.
amazing.
You know, we love you and we don't
I
know
know.
a lot about you, and it's been a learning experience and just a close bonding thing with us, and
I feel the same.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I do.
My pleasure.
And I know I used to say this growing up. Like people always people are like, "Oh, who's your hero?" And people are like, "Oh, my dad." And it's
Well.
like you just said that. I legitimately always meant it.
Yes.
So like
I've-
just hearing like how you became you is really cool.
yeah.
And there's some stuff like that I'm learning, and that obviously 1970s bullshit.
70s were good. 80s were good.
But like that story, I got to talk to Mom about.
yeah.
Why
The
19
70 flood?
Yeah.
Please.
Who knows what that is?
But so we'll end it here, and we'll just plan to. So I don't know why my levels are so low. We'll end it here. Oh man, yeah. I don't know if any of me was just getting picked up that whole time. That sucks.
That would be really stupid
Oh man, I really hope, because I can hear myself now.
if. Yeah.
Oh fuck. So we'll pick up.
Maybe we'll just redo this whole thing.
Yeah, let's start here. I'll just delete this right now. And,
Let's not go too far.
but no, so we'll end it here, and then we'll plan maybe next weekend.
Sure.
to like pick up again,
Sure.
and we'll shoot for like early 70s.
Maybe it'll be a nice day outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then yeah, and that'll be the 30th episode
Oh,
of my podcast.
that'd be great.
What, you going for a record? What?
No,
What's your
it's-
goal?
I want to keep doing it. I like
A
doing
million.
it.
You're good at it. You're good at it.
Yeah.
All right, so that was our dad, Andy Rusnak, telling the first half of his abridged life story. We'll come back on the next episode with starting around early 1970s, and yeah, I don't really have anything else to say on
Good.
that.
Yeah,
Thank-
I'm looking forward to it.
Just
Awesome.
Thank you. Love you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
love
Love
you,
Dad.
you.
Your
Love you
time.
both. Love you.
Awesome, cool, sweet.
Okay.
I just gotta hit the end record button and not the delete, and I don't know why they put them right next to each other.